Hey, what is up guys? DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we're going to be taking on double S difficulty of the brand new Best Jeanist Climax battle. As you can see, I have already cleared it twice. I cleared it once with Sue on my team, the new Yule Gift Sue, and once without her. I'm going to be showing you guys both of those runs, and I'm also going to be explaining the phase shifts as we watch the runs, because I know the phase shifts get a little confusing, especially the last phase shift, where it just feels like you're always getting your teeth kicked in. So I'm going to show you guys how I did this with both those teams, but before we do that, let's take a look at the event shop. If you haven't already seen this, I just wanted to point it out. There's a whole bunch of new stuff in the event shop, including this Climax Battle December UR memory ticket, which, by the way, costs 3,500 Climax Battle medals, which is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. Let me know how you feel about it down in the comments, especially when the DX piece is 2,500, but it will be something nice, I guess, to work towards, but we'll have to see if they gave us a better farm for Climax Battle medals or not. It'll just be really interesting to see. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at my teams for the two different runs I did, and then we'll hop into actually seeing the runs. Okay, so this is the team I used to clear it with Sue. Sue is really important to this team and really good. So if you don't know about Best Jeanist already, basically the idea for this whole Climax battle, to sum up all this big strategy info stuff, is that you want to power down Best Jeanist. You need a character that can power him down. Now, there are memories that do power down, but they typically only last for like the first 3 turns of battle. So you're going to need a character that does power down. The reason we're running Sue, and the reason why Sue is so good, is because she has passively powers down the enemy for the first 3 turns of battle with her auto skill. And then she also has an action skill that powers down the enemy as the battle goes on. And then she also gives your team, your whole team, damage reduction. So Sue is really, really good. And then on top of that, she heals. Like, she is just the best possible destruction character for this Climax battle. However, this Climax battle is not gated behind this character, and I promise you that because I have beaten it with another team, and I know there's like multiple different teams you can actually use to beat this, so just keep that in mind. So the main idea behind this Climax battle is to power down Best Jeanist in general. The next character I'm running is Fantasy Bakugo. Fantasy Bakugo is almost like a must-have because he is your main damage. If you don't have Fantasy Bakugo, you can actually run the purple Bakugo with this same friendly reinforcements memory and probably get by, so keep that in mind as well. And then I'm running Dabi. Dabi isn't really necessary on this team per se, but Dabi is very necessary on this team that I used right here without Sue to clear this Climax battle. The reason Dabi is important is because his second action skill reduces the enemy's power like Sue does. So between Sue reducing the enemy's power and Dabi reducing the enemy's power, and then Sue giving our team damage reduction, it lowers how much damage Best Jeanist does, like, by so much. So normally Best Jeanist action skills when I was using this team here was doing like 17,000 to 20,000 damage. When I was using the team with Sue, I was taking about 4,000 damage from his action skills. So a really big difference having 2 power down characters and having that damage reduction character with Sue. So that is why we're running the team we're running right here. And then we are running an action skill cooldown time memory on Sue, because remember, she has a 6-turn cooldown action skill, so keep that in mind. And then just a regular crit memory on Dabi. The most important thing to note about this team though is Nejire in the sub slot. So one of your characters will die in the main slot. It's like bound to happen. It's probably going to be Dabi. When that character dies, Nejire, you want her to fill the spot. And the reason is because at this point, you're hopefully at the last phase, the final phase. And on the final phase, you need to have more speed than Best Jeanist, okay? And you also need to have a power down character. So Nejire powers down the enemy with her action skill, and then this memory on her right here, the free-to-play memory, just as told, will increase her own speed by 25% and decrease the opponent's speed by 20% for 3 turns if you have a pro hero on the team. So Aizawa, even though he's on the team, he does not get used at all. He actually never comes into rotation. He is literally there just for that memory, so I get the speed buff and the speed debuff onto Best Jeanist. And the reason this is important is because on the final phase, you want to get your plus ultra before Best Jeanist gets his plus ultra, because if he plus ultras you first, he will bind your team and you will lose and you won't be able to plus ultra. But if you get your plus ultra first, that means all 3 of your characters will be able to plus ultra and you will probably kill him. And I'll show you guys how that works when we actually get into the run. So this is my team for Sue, and this is my team without Sue. Yes, I am running Ocean Sun or Araka. Can you beat it without her? Yes, she is not necessary. She just makes it a lot easier because, like I said before, she is a phenomenal support. I've said it in many videos. And then additionally, in the strategy info, the more hits you get with a yellow character, the higher your team's defense is. So that's another reason she's a good replacement for Sue right here. Reason we're running Dobby, like I said, he has the power down because now we don't have Sue to do the passive power down, so we need Dobby to do the power down. Dobby is our main power down character until he or Araka dies on the final phase where Najiri replaces them, and now Najiri is the main power down character. Same kind of idea here where Najiri is going to boost your team speed and decrease Best Jeanist speed, and Bakugo is still your damage dealer. So very similar teams all the way around, just one has Sue and one doesn't. So let's go ahead and hop into these showcases and I'll show you guys the 2 different runs. As we get into this is the team with Sue. We are starting off with the heal here. At the beginning, it regenerates our HP for the next 2 turns passively. It's also going to reduce our damage. And then the first action skill we use with Dobby is the second action skill because, as you saw, it does a power down. And then we do Bakugo's second action skill first because it increases his own crit rate. And now we have plus ultras with Dobby and Bakugo, but we're actually going to hold off on using those because we're not going to get the full damage effect out of them if we use them right now because there is a phase shift. So try to save your plus ultras until after the first phase shift, which comes up very quickly. That looks to be a great spool of thread. Now use all of your plus ultra skills. And Bakugo does 99,000 damage whether you hit the crit or not. Sue doesn't do a ton of damage. If she hits a crit, she does alright, but Dobby also does a bunch of damage, which is why you want to run a crit memory on Dobby if you can. We skip this turn without using an action skill because you do want to have an action skill chain. So as you can see, the one bad thing about Sue is how long it takes her action skills to cool down. So you do need the action skill cooldown. That decreases power with Sue, that second action skill, so that's also very important. And right now we're just decreasing Best Jeanist action skill damage so much that Bakugo only took 4,000 right there if you saw. If not, rewind the video, check that out. But you're taking very little damage with this team because you are powering down and because you are doing damage reduction so often. Also, the blind reduces Best Jeanist damage as well, so if you can land the blind, even better. And there was another example of Bakugo only taking 4,000 damage. And then right here, we're going to use all 3 plus ultras. This is going to reduce our damage again. So just a bunch of damage reduction from Asui. It's really helpful, so keep that in mind. Actually, we did save Bakugo's plus ultra right there, and Dobby's, I was thinking we used them, but there's a phase shift. So we saved them because of the phase shift, and now we're using them for the 99,000 damage. And then if Dobby hits a crit, it would have been like 70,000, but he didn't, so it was only 40,000. That's fine. And now we have a full action skill chain. Power down right here. And this doesn't power down because that was his first action skill, but then Bakugo pretty much always hitting 99,000 on his action skills, and that is because of friendly reinforcements. So if you have friendly reinforcements, highly recommend you run it. Bakugo doing another plus ultra. And we're almost into the final phase. Now, that wasn't too difficult up to this phase. Honestly, it's really not that difficult up to this phase, but the final phase will literally kick your teeth in if you do not understand how this phase works. Like every other phase, not a big deal. Basically, power down, you're fine. Okay, but here's the important part. Najiri just came in, and we have reduced Best Jeanist speed with the memory on Najiri, which is very important. You cannot damage Best Jeanist until turn 3. Keep that in mind. Every action skill that hits, you reduce his speed. So you see right here, power down, and then speed down on him. You want to speed down Best Jeanist as much as possible, so still use your action skills even though they're not doing damage, but try to get his speed down. Bakugo's normal attacks will do damage, but action skills basically don't do any damage. As you can see, 1,206. Don't use your plus ultra on turn 2, even though Bakugo had his plus ultra right there. I did not use it. Save all your plus ultras for turn 3 right here. If you look, Best Jeanist gives himself a buff of 120% speed, and then we are speeding him down by 60% right there. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see that we're speeding him down even more because of the memory and stuff like that. Speed down by 20%. So it is very important that you have speed down at on Best Jeanist, you want to use your action skills on him. That way you get your plus ultra first during this turn. Otherwise, if he plus ultras you first, it's over. You're not winning. So save your plus ultras for turn 3. That's why Najire is so good, because she increases your plus ultra gauge as well, so you can get 3 plus ultras. So that's why Najire and Bakugo are kind of must-haves for this, for the damage and the plus ultra gauge. So just keep that in mind, and we did get 2 cases right there. Looks like you spun together a spool of hope. Here's a special pair of jeans. So yeah, it's really not that difficult once you understand the final phase mechanic, but until you understand that you can't do damage until turn 3, and if you're not faster on turn 3, you're gonna lose, you'll continue to get your teeth kicked in. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. As you can see, this was the clear where I got Best Jeanist, and my first time doing it. Wherever you go, I feel you'll overcome whatever happens to you. So that was the clear with Sue. Now let me show you guys the clear without her. This is the team I'm running once again. And as we get into this, I'll explain what I'm doing again, but it's basically the same general kind of idea. And that instead of having Sue do the power down, now we only have Dabi for the power down. Keep that in mind. Uraraka is going to increase our defense in place of Sue, because the more a yellow character hits the opponent, the higher our defense goes. As you can see, we powered down Best Jeanist right there. Bakugo is still our main damage. And we will have to use all of our action skills here to get through this first phase, and we're going to have a phase shift. The burn from Dabi is just like extra icing on the cake, a little extra damage. That's why I choose Dabi here over Shigaraki. You could use Shigaraki for a power down, you could use Mineta for a power down, so keep in mind there are other options besides Dabi. I like Dabi though because of the burn, and it gives a little extra damage that helps you out. 99,000 damage from Bakugo. Defense down from Uraraka, another reason she's really good because it makes Dabi able to hit harder. 51,000 from Dabi. And now we have Dabi's action skill back up. That's one nice thing about Dabi is he only has a 4-turn action skill. So you actually do, for this team, have to put an action skill cooldown time memory on Dabi. That way you are getting his power down every 3 turns when it's starting to wear off. Because that turn that we used the power down last turn was the turn that the power down wore off from the previous use. And if you pay attention to how much damage we're taking like 19,000 from action skills, so it's a very big difference between having Sue on your team and not having Sue on your team. We are taking so much more damage, but that's alright. That's the reason we brought along Ocean Sun Uraraka, because she has the evasion for our team, and because you get a max HP increase. Now the evasion doesn't matter much in this phase because he ignores evasion, so keep that in mind for the 3rd phase. He will ignore your evasion. And as you see, we just took 36,000 damage on Uraraka, but she has such a large health pool that it doesn't really matter. And so now we're able to use all of our plus ultras if we wanted to, but we're actually just going to use Uraraka's for the healing, and we're going to use these 2 action skills and save the plus ultra for if we need it. And now Dabi is dead, which is actually okay. That's not a big deal, because we now have the speed down and the power down from Najire. So Najire is able to do her power down if we want. I'm going to save that though for the final phase, and we're going to go ahead and use Bakugo's plus ultra right here, because in the final phase, Best Jeanist takes away your plus ultra. So don't be afraid to use your plus ultra if you have it right here, even if it's just for that little sliver. It's better to actually save your action skills for this final phase, because remember, the more action skills you land on Best Jeanist, the lower his speed goes. So we have a full skill chain of 3 action skills. We have a power down with Najire, so this should work really well. So there's the power down. Almost no damage with Bakugo. 22,000. I mean, it's still a lot, but nothing compared to the 99,000 that he was doing. So just keep that in mind. Having 2 healers actually works out really nicely because they're able to play off each other and heal each other. Even though I have plus ultras here, do not use your plus ultras on turn 2. Don't make that mistake because they won't do damage. You need to wait till turn 3. As you can see, he still has a speed buff of 120%, but it's down by 60% right there, and it's down by 20% down here from the memory. So that's an 80% speed decrease, even though he's increasing his own speed by 120%. So we should be okay to have the priority on the plus ultra turn. I was debating right there whether to actually use our rockers or not, but I wanted to make sure I had the damage on the final turn, so I kind of took the risk and hoped Uraraka wouldn't die, and as you can see, it did pay off. We got all 3 plus ultras, and now we're able to finish this up nicely because we do in fact have more speed than Best Jeanist. 99,999, and that was the last stand, and then Uraraka kills him off. So that is a team without Sue. We were lucky enough to get 2 chests each time. If you saw those chests drop at the end, if you only see 1 chest, that means you're not getting the bonus climax medals. If you see 2 chests, you are getting the bonus climax medals like you see right here where you have 40 plus 20. Anyways, guys, those are the 2 teams I used. Hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully you guys understand the phase shifts a little bit more. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I will try to get back to you. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go down there, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed, please go down there and subscribe. I am trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed so far. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.